Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We hope that you had a beautiful Christmas season and a marvelous New Year. I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson.
And once again, we're here at Santa Rosa Week. You find us on Channel 27 every Saturday, 4:30 until 5, and all of our shows are now on YouTube. Just search for Santa Rosa Week. Ladies and gentlemen, and look, it's going to be fast and furious for us to get this in 30 minutes. Our chairman, Don Salter, has decided to put together, I'll lovingly refer to it as a dog and pony show. It's a vision meeting.
It was intended to prioritize what county government wanted to focus on in the coming years with the downturn in the economy and slower funding coming in and so on.
Right. So the first clip will be Mr. Rick Harper, so roll tape.
We are generally subject to the national economic slowdown, which means that unemployment will rise, but because of the dominance of military spending as well as a very affordable drive-to tourism market, we are not going to hit the depths that South Florida will hit. As the national economy and by extension our economy comes out of the slowdown, that is the point at which the military spending slowdown at the federal level is likely going to kick in, and we're going to face the challenges then of having to diversify further.
So what we heard during this meeting was that Santa Rosa County is not going to suffer quite as hard as the rest of the state with the downturn, should recover a little bit sooner than the rest of the state, won't suffer as much as generally the United States. But what was also interesting was that there was that same emphasis that we've always kind of encountered on population growth.
You have to grow.
Population growth, and of course that produces a need for housing, construction industry as the driver once again behind the economy. And the other thing, of course, they talked about was the military, which
right.
Dr. Harper noted provides about 35% of our economy here, makes up about 35% of our economy.
And we expect your president, Mr. Obama, to reduce military spending.
There's a concern in coming years, not in the short term, but there's a concern 3, 4, 5 years down the road that military funding is going to reduce a little bit. And that kind of illustrates the double-edged sword that you see when you have a military economy in your community. They pump money in. They pump money in while they're funded. And we saw what happened in Pensacola, what happens when they decide to pull the rug out from under your feet. And you can drive through Pensacola and see the result of that.
Absolutely.
Of course, the other thing with the military is, again, it's a double-edged sword. They pump money into the economy, but the presence of the military also raises the cost of living for everybody. It raises the cost of housing, especially goes up. Military get a free house, or they get a tax-free housing allowance, so they don't have that cost coming out of their paycheck, and that just raises, across the board, that's going to raise home prices for everybody.
One of the things that tickles me is you always hear you have to have growth. You have to have growth. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. One of the biggest reasons that they say you have to have massive growth is because of the ineptitude of government and the unbelievable spiraling growth. I mean, just monumental growth of government.
Well, I think above and beyond that, you see the influence of the construction lobby and the developer lobby, which has been running the state of Florida for quite some time.
Sure it has, no doubt.
And, I mean, at some point, you either have to diversify or, we're at the point where we are at now where you have more than enough homes that are sitting empty and the economy's crashing.
Right. And, and one of the other things that he said that I really like Dr. Harper, but he is now suggesting that it will be a good idea that the United States has a visa program that if you will invest $500,000 and you create 10 jobs, we'll let you into the United States of America. It's really...
Well, he mentioned in general, it's his opinion that immigration in general is a good thing. It's that sort of juggernaut that keeps the population increasing. and people keep consuming.
So
and expanding.
when you already have a 7% unemployment in the state of Florida, you want to bring more people in so they can be unemployed.
Well, here's what Dr. Harper said about immigration. Roll tape.
So nationally, the housing market will be slow. I think the breakthrough strategy is going to be population growth if we get immigration reform at the national level. If one thing that Santa Rosa County might want to consider is the EB-5 visa program, which invites foreign entrepreneurs with high net worth. They can get visas if they invest $500,000 in job creation programs and demonstrate that they've created 10 jobs in the area. That would be a strategy that would prop up housing markets. My own belief is that we're headed in the wrong direction on immigration nationally, and that population growth is going to be the answer to our housing market ills. I personally think that the problems of growth are better than the problems of stagnation.
Well, that's very interesting. Like I said, I do believe he is a smart guy and he studies things, but
My question is this: why do we need immigrants to capitalize small business? I mean, I've covered this when I was with a local newspaper, and the one thing I always heard from small business people in this area was that there's not enough capital. They don't have enough capital to expand the business.
yeah. Why doesn't the state focus on that?
Why are we not focusing on helping small businesses capitalize themselves, and instead of trying to bring in these pie in the sky? Maybe they're going to stay. Maybe they're going to create jobs.
Well,
maybe they're not companies.
That has been my argument from day one, and that's why I've been 180 degrees opposed to Team Santa Rosa, is because I believe in Santa Rosa County, where mom and pop is running a successful small business. They have their kids in school. They have a vested interest in staying here. Their mother and father lives in the area. We should be putting money to those people so that Mr. and Ms. Business Owner can increase their square footage. They can add more employees.
We put $750 billion to $1.3 trillion in the pocket of banks and insurance companies and so on to help them basically recapitalize themselves. And we can't take some of that money and we can't help small businesses.
Well, the problem is Bank of America doesn't know where all the money went.
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
I mean, when I envision this transfer of wealth that we just did, I think if I was going to draw a cartoon, it would be the money comes into the front door of the bank and the money all leaves the back door of the bank, all in a sack, and 3 or 4 people. I mean, it's a sad day when they can't even account for what's been given.
And they can't include small businesses in that handout, where it would actually, perhaps generate some jobs.
Yeah, the banks, the federal government's too big to reach out there to the small business. The bank has to be the intermediary for that. And when they don't even know where the money went, what can you expect? Well, the one of the next topics of discussion was the Whiting Aviation Park.
Right.
And we've talked about it before. We have spent about $3 million or better already in that.
Well, this is, I believe it's 260 acres on the edge of Whiting Field, and the idea is that the county's going to get joint land use of the runway at Whiting Field, right. And that's going to bring in all kinds of aerospace industry.
And I would like to point out that your chairman, Commissioner Salter, told you or inferred to you well over 4 years ago that they were going to have be granted access to that runway.
They did update that.